Okay, I have absolutely no idea. It didn't count me in as it usually does. So, welcome to the She's the Boss show, which is all about shining a light on female founders and women doing extraordinary things in business, particularly the women in my world in the She's the Boss community. And I'm so excited to be doing this interview with the lovely Bronwyn Reid, who I had the pleasure of hanging out with in Bali this year for our retreat. And I just adore her. So, welcome, Bronwyn.
Thank you, Jules. And yes, did we have a blast in Bali or not?
Yes, what happened in Bali stays in Bali. So let's talk all about you. I want to share what you do with everybody. So let's start off with, I know you've got a couple of businesses, one that you're very well known for and one that people might not know about. So, which has just won a massive award, which we've also got to talk about. But anyway, I'll shut up. You talk now about what it is you do.
Okay, Jules. Well, I guess my real job is as the part owner of an environmental consultancy. That business has been going for just under 30 years now.
Wow.
So
when you say environmental consultancy, though, what does it do?
Okay, we specialise in field work. So there's a lot of the big consultancies do lots of planning and desktop studies and whatever. We specialise in what we call getting wet and dirty.
Getting your hands in there.
Out there in the field, taking the water samples, taking the soil samples, testing the air, all that sort of stuff.
Why? Who do you work with that needs that kind of service?
We work across industries. We work for government. In fact, our very first contract with government, for 40 consultants, was with government. Then we also work across industry, general industry. We work with agribusiness. So the company really started out in agribusiness because both Ian and I, who's my husband and business partner, we both come from agribusiness backgrounds. Right. And now, as the mining industry has risen and risen and risen in Australia, we do a lot of work for the mining companies, but making sure that they are complying with their environmental requirements.
Right. Okay.
So that's probably 80% of our revenue now. So out of that,
go on.
I have had a lifetime of being a very small company dealing with very, very large organisations, like government and mining companies and BHPs and all those sorts of people.
Right.
So that's not always an easy place to be, Jules.
Oh no, I know. It's like, for me anyway, it's kind of, I can't even begin to imagine dealing with companies that large.
Yes. So along the way, we won a couple of business awards, and I found that people were asking me for a bit of a hand up, a bit of advice, etc., etc. So in 2017, I published my first book. It's called Small Company, Big Business: How to Find, Win and Keep Big Companies as Customers.
Wow.
So it's really a textbook. In fact, it's been called a textbook for what small businesses need to do if they want to find these big companies and then attract them and then win work with them and then keep them as customers coming back year after year after year. So out of that then spawned the workshops, the courses, the speaking engagements, etc., etc., etc.
Right.
That became Small Company, Big Business, the company. And so now I've got 2 companies.
I know that feeling. I did the same thing with women speakers, and you go, hang on, I'm trying to keep it all nice and tight, and then another one comes along. But I absolutely love it. I've had the pleasure of watching you present how a small company can work with big business, and it did kind of blow my tiny mind in terms of the governance, the compliance, what they're looking for and how risk averse they might be, how we can make ourselves much more attractive to them on different levels. But it is a whole other world.
It absolutely is. But I don't want to give all your listeners the impression that it's impossible, Jules, because it's not really. Look, I've done it. I've done it.
And you've helped other people do it. So
yes, I have. I've helped other people do it, but it does require some work.
yeah.
But it's like everything. It's like you in your profession. If it was easy, everyone would be doing things like starting She's the Boss and women speakers. It takes a bit of work.
Yeah,
so
it does.
that's what my purpose is, to help those small businesses understand and then implement what has to be done.
Can I ask a bit more of your why? I know that you love helping them, but what is it that lights you up about doing it? Why is there a need even? There you go.
I'll step back just one step from that, Jules. As you know, or your listeners probably don't know, I live in a regional area of Queensland.
Right.
I live in a region without a sea view, so it's not even regional Mackay or regional Cairns or regional.
It's regional rainforest.
It's regional. Well, it's regional grain and coal country.
Right.
My heart is here. I was brought up in a regional area. I firmly believe that unless the regions of Australia are prosperous, the whole of Australia can't be prosperous. And the glue of the small communities is the small businesses. In fact, the glue of all communities is the small businesses. Now, in a region like this, you're going to get one or two big industries or one or two even big companies that dominate the entire regional economy.
Yeah.
But unless you've got the small businesses that support that, you've got nothing.
Right.
So that's my driver, is creating skilled small businesses that can become part of those supply chains. But there's also a reverse to that as well, because if you have a community of well-regarded, well-prepared, innovative, well-structured small businesses, you're going to attract the investment. Because where is a large company going to go to set up? They're going to go somewhere where there's the natural resources, obviously. We've got to look at that stuff. But then they're going to look, have they got the people? Have they got the skills? Have they got the social infrastructure for me to warrant investing money in that area? So it's actually a two-way street.
And I think that that's a really important point. Also, obviously, as a small business owner, I can see the attraction of working with a large company for the money that they have. But tell me about the flip side of it. Why would a large business want to work with a small business? Where are the what? Yeah.
Three things. First of all, small businesses are innovative. You know that. I know that.
Yeah, and agile.
No matter how much big businesses try, with the very, very odd exception, they just can't get this innovation stuff out.
Right.
So usually they will buy a small business and then ruin it. all in the quest for innovation. So that's number one. Two, you said the agility. Yes. And I use the saying here that as one of our clients has an environmental incident that needs to be dealt with, so they can phone us, or they can phone one of the big consultancies in Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne.
Yeah.
We can jump in the car, go to the site, find out what has to be happen, what has to do, etc., mobilise the team, get it done, and we're back in here having a cup of tea by the time the large company has got a purchase order for a plane fare.
Right. Yes. That's a very good point.
We're jolly on the spot. The last one is the change in the business environment that's happening now. This is a big change that's happening.
Right.
COVID has been a big kickstart. Not a kickstart because it had already started, but it's brought this all to the surface. The whole community social responsibility.
Yeah.
Social license to operate. I actually hate that term, but we'll go with it because everybody understands.
What is that? A social license to operate?
Yes.
Is that what it's? What's that?
If you are a very large company and you want to set up a factory in Emerald, which is my hometown,
yeah,
you're going to get some people that don't like it. Okay, it may be going to put some stuff in the river, or I don't know,
whatever it might be.
Whatever it might be. So that company needs to integrate with the community and show the community that it can bring good.
Right.
That is their social license to operate.
Oh, okay. I've never heard that before. I've heard of corporate social responsibility, but I haven't heard that particular term. That's great. Yeah. Sorry, and I interrupted you as you were explaining.
Then the other acronym that you will know at the moment is ESG, Environmental Social Governance.
Right.
All of this has been really brought to the surface by COVID. These concepts have been around for 20, 30 years.
Right.
But mostly in the fringe press, and then the fringe press like The Guardian and those sorts of
those kind of fringe presses,
lefty papers.
Yeah.
And of course in academia. Now you can read about it in the mainstream media, even in the Australian.
Yeah.
So it is now a mainstream
issue,
concept. If big businesses don't take notice of these trends, they do not get their social license to operate. They are seen as bad corporate citizens. They will not be able to raise finance from the banks, and people won't work for them.
Right. Yeah.
Particularly the younger generations. They want to have a purpose in their lives, and they will literally take a pay cut to work for a company that accords with their own values.
Yeah. And we are hearing more and more of that. But also, one interesting conversation I had with a huge, big multinational a couple of years ago, and they said, in order for us to be able to tick our social responsibility boxes, we have to work with companies that are compliant. So, so that there is there is kind of a mandate within them now that they need to work with a certain number of small businesses, and that those businesses need to be in the environmental space or in the social enterprise space or whatever it might be. So interesting, though, that it's become so mainstream for them.
It is absolutely mainstream now. And I did rail against the whole ticking the box thing. Yes, I have to have a certain number of small business suppliers because so I can tick the CSR box. Now I'll just take the win. So if that's why a big company is going to engage with me. But believe me, this shift is happening.
Yeah,
it is
great. Happening. Oh, well, I'm delighted.
The other thing that a lot of big companies are coming to realize, BHP has been particularly good at this, I have to say. It's just good business. It's just good business. Having a diversified supply chain.
Absolutely makes sense. And I mean, I think we've all heard that thing of you don't want all your eggs in one basket. So for all of us, we need, I was speaking to someone the other day who said 80% of their business was coming from one client who is a large corporate. And I was like, you need to diversify fast, because if anything happens, your business will die. Correct. So, so I think that's really good. Okay. So in practical terms, what can you offer people that might be listening in, and who are you targeting and why? So, what actual products and services are you offering?
To the small or medium business owner or manager, I can offer, my very first offering is what I call an up session, which is an unpack and prioritize. 90 minutes. Okay. Where are you now? What's happening? Because usually when a small company is in that cusp area of being able to step up to start to talk to a Coles or a Woolworths or a BHP or somebody, it's all very confusing and they get very, very overwhelmed. You know, the old hamster on the hamster wheel thing.
Yeah.
So Those up sessions are designed to unpack that hamster wheel and then prioritize. What do we actually need to work on? Then the potential client can then choose to bring me on as a mentor.
Yep.
Or simply enroll in one of the courses that I've written around the books.
And can I ask, do you often have clients that come to you that have already got some kind of a relationship or something's going on with a big corporate? So they've been approached or they're tendering or something? Or do you work with people who go, I love that idea. I have no idea where to start, and you help them, kind of even identify something to target?
People will come to me, Jules, when they have already identified a potential chink or a little tiny gap, or I'll give you one example. And in this case, we didn't actually get the tender, but it's a good example.
Yeah.
It was to publish a centenary book for a large organisation.
Okay. Sounds quite far away from what you normally do.
Well, it's the same principle.
Okay.
You're trying to get a very large company to trust a very small company.
Oh, so the small business that wrote the book and wanted to approach the big companies about doing
No, the big company wanted to have this centenary book produced.
Okay.
The small business found out about this opportunity and wanted to put in a tender.
Yeah, okay. And then brought you on board to help them.
Yeah, correct. Another, probably my most successful client, in fact, so successful that we've gone into business with them.
I love that.
Did have experience. This was in the mining industry.
Right.
He knew that this particular company had a problem. They had an issue that they couldn't fix. He knew that he had a way to fix that issue.
Right.
But it was a little bit outside the square, and mining companies and big companies in particular are not very good at thinking outside the square.
Yeah, right.
Oh, will it work? Oh, does it break does it follow the regulations? That sort of stuff. So we put together it was a case, and he walked away with $100,000 purchase order.
Oh, fantastic.
And now an ongoing working relationship with that company.
And a new partner in ULOT.
And a new partner with our environmental companies.
That's just fantastic.
Yes.
Have you worked with any small businesses? You mentioned Coles and Woolworths. Can we go there? Have you worked with retail brands that have tried to get into those big sort of retail chains?
Only one, and that's my brother's company.
And what happened? Tell us. So what did he do, and how did he get in?
He's a supplier to Coles. So he's quite a large supplier to Coles. So
because you hear constantly about trying to get your retail brand in, and be careful what you wish for, and they're going to beat you down on price, and you've got to have masses of stock, and you need to be able to restock very quickly. And in fact, somebody that I know, I think, had their business. In fact, two people that I know have had their business closed down over being promised big contracts that either didn't work out or the sell-through didn't happen very well. Have you had stories like that, or? Absolutely,
I know of stories like that. I haven't personally worked on them, but you've just touched on the one thing about big companies, and the whole first section of my Small Company Big Business book is exactly about that. Do you really want to do this? And I lay out all the reasons to do it and all the reasons to not do it.
And then people.
I have a problem with the grow ethos. That unless you're growing, unless you're going to be the next Elon Musk or Bill Gates or something, you're not a proper business person. I have a big problem with that.
And what about coaches and consultants that want to get into big businesses? Have you managed to work with anyone that's trying to get into that, or is it all mainly around the sort of products?
Mostly around services.
Right.
Services and products. No, I haven't actually worked with any.
Sort of
Having said
consulting.
that, I've done a lot of introductions of my my entrepreneur friends to big companies, but I've never actually charged them for it. Maybe I should.
Yeah. Well,
What
I
do
think
you think, Jules?
no, but I'm just interested about I constantly hear about people who've got coaching courses that they've managed to get into one of the banks or into big legal firms, and I just wondered if you had experienced helping people to try and bed down that kind of a thing. But
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't done that.
Sorry.
Well, that's okay. No, there's no reason I can't, but I just haven't.
Yeah. Okay. So what is your sweet spot in terms of clients? Who are your target market?
Can I just do one more thing there?
Yes. Oh my goodness.
That is my small business market. My big business market is exactly those corporates, teaching them how to do this. Now we just talked about the ESG, CSR, SLO stuff, and how these big companies are realizing that they have to do this. But most of them do not have a fact. They do not have a single clue how to engage with an SME. And that's logical, because if you think of the person who's typically you're going to deal with in a big company, they came out of university, they probably got a graduate traineeship, and then they worked for a few years, did some training, went up the corporate ladder a bit, and then they went to another big company. And then they worked a bit longer, and they worked up their way a little bit more up the corporate ladder, and then they went to another big company.
So they haven't had that experience at all.
At some point, they get put in charge of small business procurement. They don't know they wouldn't know what a small business looked like, smelt like, acted like.
Right.
And with all the best will in the world, no matter how passionate they are about engaging small businesses, they don't speak the language.
And so you do the interpretation.
This is what where I'm moving now.
Right.
That's where I'm moving now, is teaching big companies to be better customers.
No, I think that's it's just such an important service. And when I first met you, I remember being beside myself with excitement at the idea of being able to get into a big corporate. And then I watched some of your stuff and I went, I don't know whether I'm really the right type of person.
And that is exactly a valid decision, Jules.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the next, I don't know, Tony Robbins or not that I want
whoever it is
Robbins.
that supplies.
Yes, exactly.
RTO kind of training into companies.
You do not have to do that. You found your sweet spot. You know who you love working with. You know, you love working with the kind of women that we were with in Bali. They're running their own businesses. I'm not sure that you want to be working for.
No. I mean, you look at both. I mean, I would love to if I was allowed to do what I wanted to do, but very rarely I would imagine that happens. So better to stay away and stay in my own little world as well. So I absolutely love what you do, obviously. I think you're amazing. If somebody watching this would like to work with you or would like to have a conversation, what's the best way? Maybe we give them a 40s and a Bronwyn Reid option for working with you.
Any environmental superintendents or environmental officers from large companies that need an absolutely brilliant environmental company, we can definitely help you there. For those of you who are small businesses or large businesses and you want to solve that gap problem between the two parties, definitely head to bronwynreid.com.au. There you can book a 30-minute, just let's have a chat and if we've got anywhere to go. Or you can book a 90-minute up session. That is a paid session, but we can literally get to a few issues in your business and hopefully get some of the cloud around dissipated and get you on the path.
Fantastic. And you're also, or I know that you're on LinkedIn and I guess Facebook, if anybody wants to get, just because this is streaming through both those channels as well. Bronwyn, what can I say? I could talk to you for hours because I love what you do. I think it's really important. And I love being able to refer people to you when they go, oh, I'd love to go and work with a big company. It's like, well, I don't even know where to start. So go to the expert, and Bronwyn is the expert. So thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview with me today. I just also want to say that we have been very kindly sponsored by Eve John from Boardroom 51, who has been helping women to get their first board position. She's a wonderful woman, very supportive. You can also, if you have enjoyed this and you like the sound of She's the Boss, go and check us out at she'sthebossgroup.com. We have got a membership and we have lots and lots of events that are going on. You can connect with me on LinkedIn or join the She's the Boss Facebook group, which is very engaged and lovely women and no nastiness in there. I also coach women about raising their profiles and I'm a bit of a mentor and advisor. And last but definitely not least is new directory for women speakers at womenspeakers.com.au. And I do have a live stream every Thursday where I'm showcasing speakers as well. Thank you again so much, Bronwyn. You're just a delight. And anybody who works with you, I know will, not regret it at all. So I hope you do get some more nibbles. And I'm just so glad I got to know you this year.
Thanks, Jules. And I can only say, yeah, sign up to She's the Boss. There's some absolutely amazing women in there and all